Okay, in 5.4 part 1, we're going to be dividing polynomials. In this section, we're using long division. Okay, so to understand how we divide polynomials using long division, first we're going to have a little refresher on just long division in general, so long division with numbers. How would I divide 672 by 21?
You start off by seeing if 21 goes into 6.
How many times does 21 go into 67?
3 times.
3 times. Then what do I do?
Put 3 on top of them. 3 times 21.
Awesome. We put 3 on top because it goes in 3 times. And then 3 times 21, which would be 63. What do I do next? Subtract. So in this step, even though it's a positive 63, I make it negative because I subtract here. So I'm subtracting 67 minus 63, which is 4. Then what do I do? Bring down the 2, so it's 42. And how many times does 21 go into 42? 2. Then multiply by everything out front and get 42. Subtract. And what are we left with? 0. So we have no remainder. So our answer is just 32. So it's the same steps when dividing polynomials. All right, so here's an example of how to divide polynomials. It just shows you each step at a time. It'll make more sense once we do it all together, but this is just step by step how they do it. So our first example, dividing polynomials. So we always start with our variable, whatever comes first, and we want to see how many times that goes into 4x squared. So I divide 4x squared by x. What am I left with when I divide 4x squared by x? 4x. So 4x is going to go on top of 23x because these are like terms. It just has the x and the x, so they go on top of each other. Don't put it on top of the x squared because 4x is not a like term. So we want to keep ourselves as organized as possible. So we would write it on top of the 23x because those are like terms. In the long division that I did with numbers, once I wrote something on top, then what did I do? No. Multiply. So I'm going to multiply what I write out up top with everything out front. So I multiply here. So what's 4x times x? 4x squared. And then what's 4x times 5? 20x. So just like in long division, what did I do next? Subtract. So I change the signs of both of these because I subtract everything in this row and subtract it from the one above. So it's 4x squared minus 4x squared. 0. These terms will always cancel. You'll always get one of them to cancel out. They're going to be the same exact thing. And then what's 23x minus 20x? 3x. No. The x stays there. All right, now we do the same process again. So the same pattern. We divide 3x by x. So it's 3x divided by x? 3. So I write that up top. What do I do once I write something on top? Multiply it by everything out front. So what's 3 times x? 3x. And 3 times 5? 15. What do I do next? I drop down the negative 16, but also, what am I missing? I change the signs because I'm going to subtract these. So change the signs of everything in this row, and then we subtract. So it's 3x minus 3x. They cancel, so they go away. You'll always get those to cancel. And then what's negative 16 minus 15? Negative 31.
Why did you change the sign?
Because remember, in this step, we subtract. So you have to change the signs. So just like I changed the signs here, I have to change the signs in this one. Because 3x, it has to be minus 3x to get them to cancel. So we change the signs of everything in that row. Yeah. So we change the sign to get them to cancel. So I'm left with negative 30. What do you think that is? Negative 31. Thank you. What do you think negative 31 is? It's the remainder. So I would write remainder negative 31. So you can write your answer just like this, or we could write our answer as 4x plus 3. And then instead of putting remainder 31, we write it as a fraction. So it would be negative 31 over whatever we divided by, so x plus 5. So you can write it either way. I think writing it with the remainder is easier, but just showing you, if you took like the SAT or PSAT or something like that, it might write it this way. It might write it with the remainder. It might also write it that way as a fraction. So there's just two different ways of writing the remainder. You can pick whichever one you want. All right, so for the next one, we're doing the same thing. What do you think goes on the inside? What are we dividing into?
2x squared plus 7x plus 11.
Perfect. The first one goes on the inside. So 2x squared plus 7x plus 11. And then the x plus 2 goes out front. All right, so it's the first thing I do. So we see 2x squared divided by x gives us what? 2x. So that goes on top of the 7x. Because we keep our like terms on top of each other. Perfect. So then I multiply out front. So this would be, perfect, 2x squared. And then 2x times 2 would be 4x. So we want these to cancel out. So we change the signs of what I just multiplied here. Change the sign, change the sign. We change the sign of that whole row. So what happens to 2x squared minus 2x squared? They cancel. And then what is 7x minus 4x? 3x. Perfect. Now we do the same steps again. Divide by x. So what's 3x divided by x? 3. So that goes on top. What's next? Multiply. So 3 times everything out front. So what's 3 times x? 3x. And 3 times 2? 6. What's next? Change a sign. Change a sign. And we bring down the 11. And add them together. What's 3x minus 3x? Cancels. What is 11 minus 6? 5. Perfect. 5 is our remainder. So once you run out of space here, we can't go any further. After that, it's just our remainder. So notice how in my work, I have the x squareds on top of each other. Then I have the x's all on top of each other. And then the constants all on top of each other. And then once you run out of space, everything left is your remainder. So this is our answer. All right, so what goes inside the box? The first thing. But notice how this one's cubed. If we start with x to the third power, we need every degree that comes after that inside the box. So if this is x to the third power, that means we need x to the third power, x squared, x to the first power, and a constant. What am I missing? X squared. So in that space right there, right after the x to the third power, I'm going to put a 0x squared. So you have to have every degree represented here. Third power squared, 1 constant. What was your question?
So you can just plug that in.
Yep, I can just plug it in. Because it's 0x squared, so it's like adding 0 into the problem.
So,
It's kind of just going to act as a placeholder for us. So x cubed. So we just rewrite it, but make sure you put 0x squared in there. So x cubed plus 0x squared minus 13x minus 12. And then x minus 4 goes on the outside. All right, what do we do first?
minus x, or divide by x.
Divide by x. So what is x cubed divided by x?
X squared.
X squared. So that's going to go on top of the x squared, just so we keep everything in order. What do I do next?
X squared times x.
X squared times x minus 4. We multiply. So what's x squared times x? X cubed. And x squared times negative 4. Negative 4x squared. What do I do next? Change the signs. This becomes negative, and this one becomes positive. Since it's already negative, it turns into a positive. So you change the signs.
Cancel out the x.
X cubes cancel. What's 0x squared plus 4x squared? 4x squared. What's next?
Divide by x.
4x squared divided by x. So what's 4x squared divided by x? 4x.
On top of the 13.
And it goes on top of the 13 because we keep all of our degrees in order. Then we multiply. So everything up top gets multiplied to what's out front. So 4x times x is 4x squared. What's 4x times negative 4? Negative 16x.
Drop down the 13.
Bring down the 13. It's a negative 13.
Change the sign.
And change the signs. When we combine them, you have to change the sign. So it becomes a negative 4x squared and a positive 16x.
Cancel.
The 4x squareds cancel.
And 3x.
And when we add these together, we get 3x.
So you gotta
Divide by x.
divide by x.
We do the same thing again. So divide by x. What's 3x divided by x? 3. Then what?
3 multiplied by x minus 4.
3 times x minus 4. So we multiply that times everything out front.
So we get 3x and then negative
3x
12.
minus 12.
Drop down your negative 12.
Drop down the negative 12.
Change your sign.
Change the signs. This becomes negative. This one becomes positive.
Cancel out everything.
Cancels. And negative 12 plus 12 is
Cancel.
0. They cancel too. So what's my answer?
So you got x squared plus 4x plus 3.
X squared plus 4x plus 3. There's no remainder here. So that's our answer. All that for one problem. So even though we're dividing, we are dividing polynomials, we're multiplying polynomials, and we're adding and subtracting polynomials. It's all of them in one. Plus 15. And then x plus 3 goes on the outside.
Alright. So let's get started.
What do I do first?
Divide by x.
Divide by x. So what's the x to the third power divided by x? X squared. What's next?
Multiply.
Multiply.
Plus
x cubed plus 3x squared. Change the signs.
2x squared.
So the x cubes cancel. And then 5x squared minus 3x squared, perfect, is 2x squared.
And then you divide by x.
Divide by x.
2x on top of the 11x. Multiply.
Okay, so 2x. And then we multiply. So 2x times x is
2x squared.
2x squared. You'll always get the same number again, because they'll always cancel. And then what is 2x times 3? 6x. What's next?
Change the signs and drop the 11.
Change the signs and drop down the 11. So what happens here?
2x squared crosses out.
2x squareds cancel.
5x.
11x minus 6x is 5x.
And divide by
By
x.
again.
Then back to the top, we do the same pattern again. Divide by x,
Yeah, just 5.
I get 5. And then
5 times x plus 3.
Then we multiply. So 5 times x is
5x.
5x, and 5 times 3?
Plus 15. And drop down to 15.
Drop down the 15.
Change the signs.
Change the signs.
And cross out everything.
And cross out. So our remainder is what? 0. Well, no, we did all of that because this is our answer up top. But our remainder is 0. So our answer is x squared plus 2x plus 5. All right, what goes inside the box?
Alright, so x cubed. Yeah, minus x squared minus 4x.
Am I missing any terms in here? Nope, I start with cubed, then squared, then the first power, then no x. So we're good. And then the second one goes on the outside, x minus 2. Then we divide.
By x squared.
So x cubed divided by x is x squared. What's next?
Multiply.
Multiply.
Negative 2x squared.
X cubed minus 2x squared. Perfect. Change the sign, change the sign. The first ones will always cancel. And then what is negative x squared plus 2x squared?
Just x squared.
Just x squared.
And you have to divide by x.
Same pattern again. Start from the top. We divide by x. So what is x squared divided by x?
X.
X.
Multiply.
Then we multiply. X squared
We have to
minus
down,
2x.
bring down negative 4x.
Drop down the negative 4x. Change the signs. Don't forget to change the signs. So what happens to the x squareds?
Cancel out.
Cancel. What is negative 4x plus 2x?
Negative 2x.
Negative 2x. Then we do the same pattern again. Divide by x. So what is negative 2x divided by x?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Then what? Then we multiply. So negative 2 times x. Negative 2x. And negative 2 times negative 2. Positive 4. Change the sign. So the first one becomes positive now, and the second one becomes negative. And then we combine. So what happens to negative 2x plus 2x? Cancels. What else do I have to do? Drop down the 4. What's 4 minus 4? 0. So we have no remainder. So what's my answer? X squared plus x minus 2. You could always check your work by taking your answer and multiplying it to what's out front, and you'll get that inside. Yeah. So you can always check your work by multiplying it. And then notice how all of my x cubes are in line. All of my x squareds are in line. All of my x's are in a line, and then all of my constants are in a line. So it's important to keep yourself organized so you know what comes next. That'll help when writing your answer at the top. I always feel like you know what degree your x comes next because it's what follows in order.